research has been done regarding letting go of being a perfectionist, and today we are going to discuss that. So there is a lot of people sometimes being proud about being a perfectionist, and I want to know your opinion. Are you the kind of person who thinks being a perfectionist is a quality or a flaw? And I would like to welcome everybody who are here already present. And just to let you know, if you have any questions, to please write them here in the chat. And at the end, I'm going to talk to people who are here with us. So I know there is already people there. Fran is here, Alexandra is here, other people are getting in. But I'm going to start our live stream, and then at the end I'm sure I will answer all the questions and talk more about this. So talking about perfectionism is harder than I thought that would be, because we all sometimes try to do our best, and some of us go to the extremes of being perfectionist, or at least thinking they are a perfectionist. And I would like to ask you, are you that sort of person? Are you the one who always kind of are proud to say, oh, I like to do things very well, I am a perfectionist? And how does that serve you? Because sometimes people think that being a perfectionist is a quality, is something that they are very proud of. But behind being a perfectionist, there is always something that we are trying to hide. Although we might not want to admit that, but when we are perfectionists, what are we trying to hide? What are the imperfections that we are really don't want to show the world? And that's what I would like to provoke you today to think about this question, because it's very, very important. And when we talk about perfectionism, sometimes comes from when we were children, when we are a child. So if your parents were some very, very strict, or they had very, very high expectations on you, there are studies that shows that people like that, they tend to be perfectionists. And why? What is the reason why, when our parents had a very high expectation on us, or they were very strict, why we developed that perfectionism? Mainly because we want to be accepted, we want to be loved. And if our parents hold very high expectations over us, we try to do our best to comply, to make them happy, so we don't feel rejected. So if you are that sort of person, please let us know, write that down. But another thing that I would like to say today and to ask you is if you are like that with your children. If you are someone, whatever your children do, you are never happy with. You always say, oh, that's very nice, but you can do better. Of course, it is not to say that you don't have high expectations on yourself, on your children, but you have to pay attention to until what extent you do that. Because if whatever your children do, you are never happy with, they will tend to go an extra mile and an extra mile to make you happy. And sometimes that will create a situation when in the future they themselves become perfectionists and go against who they are, because that's what the problem lies. So when it becomes to be perfectionist, behind being a perfectionist, there is always shame. Shame is always behind that. And then you say, why you say that, Maria? Because I've been dealing with a lot of people, and sometimes people come and say, oh, I am a perfectionist, I like things well done, and they think by doing things well, by acting in a very proper way, always dressing very nice, very neat, or whatever they do has to be to the perfection. But what I would like to bring to our live stream today is perfection. And if you are aiming for perfection, basically you are in the wrong planet. In our planet, no one is actually perfect, because if you were perfect, we wouldn't be here. So when we think that we are perfect, we are perfect to our standards. So our standard can be very high. But we have to remember that there may be other people which their standards are even higher than ours. So whatever we do may be perfect for us, may not be perfect for other people. But let's see if we hold ourselves and if we believe that we are perfectionists, what is that we are trying to hide. Because I say that because I work with people and I see that all the time. People get confused by what they do and who they are. Because what you're doing is one thing and who you are is something else. So we are human beings. We are not human doers. And we sometimes think because we do things very well and you are perfectionists, that make us better than anybody else. We may make us better doing something than anybody else or someone else, but doesn't really mean us as a human being that we are perfect. So that's when compassion comes in, because sometimes we are so strict with ourselves to the point that we are really harsh on ourselves. So if we make a mistake, we dwell on that mistake for hours and hours on end. So we don't allow ourselves to make mistakes, because everything we do has to be the best. And we, as human beings, we are going to make mistakes one day, 1 hour or the other. This is just how it is. Because we might do things very well in one area of our life, but in another area of our life, things are not going to go well. We're going to make mistakes. And that's where we learn. Because the perfectionism sometimes holds us back from growing. Because what happens is, when you want to do something so perfectly, if you don't manage to achieve that the first, the second, the third time, you sometimes end up giving up altogether. And that's not going to help you to grow. Because in order for you to learn to do something well, you have to make mistakes along the way. That's how we learn. But for a perfectionist, sometimes we think that we have to do things well at the third or the fourth time. Because if we don't do that, we are not good enough. Because that's what we learn sometimes with our parents, with our siblings, with our teachers. They taught us in a way that make us feel if we don't do things as according to their standards, we are not good enough. And that's what I disagree. I love a woman that wrote a book. Her name is Brené Brown. She wrote a book called The Gift of Imperfection. And I love that book because she gives us permission to be imperfect. Because as human beings, we are imperfect. And when people are too perfect, we have problems to connect with them. There's something wrong. We feel like, I cannot really connect. Because when we look at ourselves and we see some flaws, so in order to connect with some people who are perfect, we don't really sync, we don't really connect. So On the book, she explains that we have to accept ourselves as we are, and let go of that crazy idea of being perfect. Today I was studying about this subject a lot, and I realized that I am more perfectionist than I would like to be. I know I touched this subject 2 weeks ago, but I would like to say that again, because sometimes we have to remind ourselves, because when we are perfectionists, we are always, when we do something, we don't even appreciate what we have done. We are always running to do the next thing. Oh, I've done that's over with it, so I'm doing the next thing. So we don't allow ourselves to really appreciate what we have achieved. I know there is other people out there who are better entrepreneurs than I am, are better, better at many things than I am. But doesn't really matter about others. It's about what I'm capable of doing. Because when I say about letting go the perfectionism, I'm not saying that you don't strive for being the best that you can be, that you don't have high standards. It's not what I'm saying. You should do that, but not to the point that you are never happy with whatever you're doing, because that's what happened to perfectionists. If you work with a perfectionist, and if you are a perfectionist yourself, sometimes it's very sad to watch. Because we're perfectionists, when they have to hold, when they have to give you a project, they always say, "Oh, we know it's not good enough. I have to tweak it here and there. I have to do better, but I didn't have enough time." So they're always giving excuses that they would have done it better if they had more time. They mortify themselves. They are so hard and so harsh with themselves, because they feel like they always have to do it better and better and better. And we have to have some balance. We have to strive to have good quality. We have to strive to be the best, but don't compare yourself with anybody else. It doesn't really help. And even when you're doing something, you have to stop and think when good is good enough. Because sometimes it's like people who are perfectionists, they are never happy with what they achieved. They are never happy with what they have done. And that is not being kind to themselves. Because those people are the ones who suffer the most. And why? And I'd like to ask why people put themselves in this position. Because they want to be accepted. They don't want to feel the shame of being rejected. They don't want to feel the shame of not being loved. So we have to always strive to do better and to do more, and to be, to do things at a level that it make them sick sometimes. Because sometimes if you don't really manage to do the things to your standards, as I said it before, you end up procrastinating. So you said, "Oh, it's not good enough, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week." And then you end up not doing. And what happened? You feel bad with yourself. You feel like you're failing. Because if you're not doing it to your standards, then you're not doing it at all. So you don't grow. So you think about how you do that. What is the process? What is behind that perfectionism? Is that something from your parents? Your parents were very strict with you. They always expect a lot from you, and if you didn't deliver it, you felt bad. So now you feel the need of being the perfectionist. So you are always feeling that because you're doing the best, then you can be loved and you can be accepted. So think about what is the motivation for you to be a perfectionist. And then you might find the cause, and then think about it. If what is that serve you, in what that serves you. Because if being a perfectionist, it makes you happy and you always deliver a high standard of services, then it's fine. But if you always striving for perfectionism and that you are tired because you never know when enough is enough, then you have to let it go and embrace yourself as you are. Accept who you are with your faults, with your flaws, because that makes us all humans. We are all humans. We are all people who make mistakes, if not today, tomorrow, or yesterday, and so on. So we have to embrace that. When I was getting ready for this talk, I was kind of aware of what would I be able to share with you, and I realized that this is not about me at all. It's about you. It's the message that I can pass to you that you can take into your life and make a good use of it. So how I'm going to pass that doesn't really make much difference. It's not about me at all. It's about the message. What can you get from this message? What can you improve in your daily life that's going to make you having a better quality of life? Because it's when we are at the extremes, when we are never happy with what we do, when we are not kind to ourselves, when we don't feel we are enough, that we start having problems. So I would like to pass to you today that you are enough. If you're not happy with what you achieved, see what else can you do to achieve what you want. But if you are that kind of people that you have to do everything better than anybody else to the extreme of perfectionism, and then think again. Think if that is giving you a quality of life that you want. So I'm going to say hello to people who are here with us. Let's see what Fran has to say. I used to be a perfectionist, but I'm no longer hold that quality, inverted commas, as it was a prison for me. I felt much better now, but I have I have to watch myself for not going back to the old habits. Yes, Francine, is true. So I like your what you're saying about hold yourself in a prison, because that's what it is. So we feel like we have to fit. We have the need to fit. Otherwise, we feel like we don't belong, and that's where it can become very dangerous. That's what our life can be a bit difficult to live. So the better we accept as ourselves as we are, the better is for us. Because we have this idea that sometimes we bought from someone else, that we have to be perfect, that we have to be slim, that we have to be intelligent, that we have to be this and that. Special women, we have to be intelligent, funny, slim, sexy, and so on and so on and so on. So we have this idea, and then when we are less than that, we feel really bad. We feel like we don't belong, like we feel less than. We don't feel less than. We should not feel less than. We are who we are, and we are unique, and that's where our beauty lies. Okay, so let's see, Claudia. I am a perfectionist when I can, when I want to. And normally for the others, I am not perfect, but for me, is fine. So basically what Claudia is saying that is she holds herself as a perfectionist, but people don't see her like that. See, that's when I was saying at the beginning that sometimes our standards are high, but there are people who have even higher standards than ourselves. So although we think and we feel we are perfectionists, but we are not. But remember what I said at the beginning, that we are human beings. We are not human doers. Although we do a lot of things, but what we do don't define who we are. And that is important. Okay? You can be very good at what you do in your job, as a mother, as a father, whatever, in the roles that you play. But doesn't really mean because you do the best you can, that means you are better than anybody else as a human being, as a person. And that's the reason why so many people are trying to hide themselves, to hide that flaws, and as a human being, by doing more and more and try to do the best they can at what they do. Okay, let's see what else. Alda, can you please indicate again the name of the book? Thank you. Okay, Alda, the name of the author is Brené Brown, and the name of the book is The Gift of Imperfection. I will write to you and I'll tell you about give you more information about the book. Is wonderful because she has the ability. I love her when even the talks she does steady talks about this subject, and she makes you feel like it's okay to be you, and that's what I believe. It's okay to be you. It's more than fine to be you. We look at ourselves in the mirror and we can say, you are enough as we are. We do not have to try to be someone that we are not. Accept and have compassion for yourself, even when we make mistakes. Because sometimes we make mistakes and we go over and over and over and over. Why have I done that? Why have I made that mistake? Why have I done that? And then we don't forgive ourselves. And sometimes by being a perfectionist, we are our worst enemies. And does not really make us better by feeling guilty, feeling shame, and feeling all those emotions. So we, as we are, we always have to strive to be the best we can. But let go of the perfectionism. If a perfectionist doesn't really help you to be the best that you can be. So let's see if there's anybody else. So, Severina is here. Hello, Severina. Lovely to see you here around. Gina from Portugal, she's here as well. Valdi is here. Good. Valdi from Brazil. Mariana is here as well. Yolanda is here as well. So, a lot of lovely people are here. So, Elena as well. Alexandra. Hi, Alexandra as well. So, guys, write here in the comments if you are a perfectionist or not. And why? Because sometimes we are, and we feel like very proud of being perfectionist, but we don't really know the damage we are doing to ourselves because we are trying to hide something. So we just get the label, I am a perfectionist, I love being a perfectionist, I do everything perfectly, and I love being that. Really? Ask yourself again. Asking yourself what is behind that perfectionism. You see, as I am here in front of you. This is a live stream. There is no room for mistakes. And I can assure you I made loads of mistakes, as you can hear me. But this is my exercise to get rid of my perfectionism. Is that good enough? Because if I was recording a video, it would be different. I could cut it. If I said something I didn't really like, if I made a grammar mistake, it would be easier for me. I'll just cut it and carry on doing the recording. But for me to do a live stream, that put me at the edge. It really challenged me to deal with my perfectionism, to deal with my faults, embrace my humanity. Because I'm human, you can see, you can relate to me. And you can say, well, Maria, just like me, she makes mistakes. And it's fine, it's absolutely fine. So I really challenge you to really challenge your perfectionism, as I am doing here tonight, just to prove to you that I'm okay the way I am. I will get better at this as you will get better at the things that you have challenges with. But if we don't challenge ourselves to overcome our imperfection, our perfectionism, allow ourselves to make mistakes, allow ourselves to be who we are, and love ourselves for what we are. We already done so much. Appreciate your life. How many people would love to be here with us tonight? And they are not here. They left. So give value, because being alive is a privilege. And live your life the best you can. Don't carry on being severe with yourself. Embrace yourself. Have compassion for who you are. And really love yourself, because sometimes we expect other people to love us. We are so upset about when people don't accept us, when people don't love us, but we do that to ourselves every day. We reject ourselves, we feel less than. Don't do that. You are enough. Love you all. Thanks for being here. I will read a few more comments. Christina, oi Chris, I am a perfectionist and I don't like that, as I take much longer to complete tasks. It's true. So if you were here from the beginning, and so you heard what I had to say, but if you came late, you can always go back and listen to this recording, because it'll be online. But think again, those who find themselves perfectionists and think that is a quality, just give yourself the benefit of a doubt. Again, Fernanda Machado. Hi Fernanda, being perfectionist is a way to hide my weakness. Thank you so much, Maria, for opening my eyes. And it's true, this is a way really to hide. And don't be scared of looking to that weakness. Don't be scared of looking to your flaws. He's who you are. Accept yourself the way you are and strive for being better, but not to a point that you can achieve, that you can accomplish, because what's going to happen is just going to feel more and more and more frustrated, and that's not going to take you anywhere. So Ileana say thanks. Alexandra from Portugal, love you, my love. Alda, thanks. You guys, you are wonderful. Thanks for being here with me. It makes a lot of difference. Your support and your love, really, really, I can really feel it. You are wonderful. So if you are listening to this record later, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do, and share the love. Share the mistakes. Share your life with those who accept you as you are.